if you're thinking like 90% of your day negative, then 90% of your life will be negative, right? So that's basically how you have to look at it. The majority of how you're thinking is basically how you feel, and how you feel is what you will attract, is what literally will reflect in your life. So that's what you will get back. So what is momentum and how can it beneficially change your life? Basically, when you think something for a long time, you start to create a belief. And we create a belief, you take action on that belief. And if you do that for a long time, that creates momentum, and that becomes your personality, that becomes who you are in this moment. That doesn't mean that you're always gonna be that person or always are a certain way, because that's like the excuse many people give for not being able to change their lives, is that they say, this is who I am. I cannot because this is who I am, or something like that, right? So, and you have to realize that you can change your momentum in life. You can change the way you do things in life, and then you create a new personality, and then you create a new person. And by doing that is by doing something for a long time. But first, before you do something for a long time, you have to first think it for a long time. You have to literally create a new belief system in your mind. So, because a belief is basically a thought that you keep thinking, and therefore it becomes true in your mind, and therefore when you keep thinking something for a long time, you start to act like that person, and that becomes your personality. And this is like how many of us don't really understand how we work, because our brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. So sometimes when you for a long time think a lot about some certain thing, you think that you are unworthy of something, and you keep repeating it and keep repeating it, you create a momentum of thinking in a certain way. Therefore you become a certain way, you start acting a certain way, and you get a certain result. Because, let's say it like this, a negative way of thinking will always have a negative influence in your life, because you will start acting negatively and also get negative results. You can never gain anything positive with negative, because it's against each other. It repels each other, let's say it like that. Let's say you're in a negative situation and you want to get out of that situation, but you keep thinking negatively. That does never make you get out of that situation, because a negative situation will never be solved by a negative attitude and by negative action. So one way to really change that is by changing your momentum into positive, or by more positive. Like, nobody's going to be pure positive. Not like that's impossible, because we're going to have moments where we are not feeling our best, right? So that's the thing. Like, you have to be more aware of yourself and aware of what you're thinking for the majority of your time. Because like what I noticed that many people do, like that get into changing their lives, they sit in the morning and maybe in the evening for a little bit, and they talk good to themselves, they say the good things, they do all the things that are necessary to change a better life. And that's certainly also good, but the rest of the day, like a day is quite long and it goes by very fast, but because like if you only focus for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening on positivity and changing your life, what are you doing the rest of your day? And that's mostly what I'm thinking about, that most people are not doing, because most people are just focusing on those 2 times a day or 1 time a day that they're focusing on positivity, but the rest of the day everything goes on autopilot, and that autopilot is based on your momentum. So if your momentum for a long time has been very negative, that autopilot, your unconscious, your subconscious thinking, your subconscious mind thinks negatively. So then subconsciously you're doing things more negatively than positive. Nobody's pure negative either, so don't be super afraid that everything is super bad in your life. No, we all have moments, but it's kind of like you have one big stick, and one side is positive and the other side is negative, and we tend to focus a lot more on that side. But it also goes to the positive every now and then. Same goes for if you're like more of a positive person, sometimes you tweak back to negative. And that's fine, and you have to be okay with it, and that it's totally okay, and that's normal. But what is not fine is that you're not understanding how your own mind works and what you're thinking for the majority of your time. Because like, if you're thinking like 90% of your day negative, then 90% of your life will be negative, right? So that's basically how you have to look at it. The majority of how you're thinking is basically how you feel, and how you feel is what you will attract, is what literally will reflect in your life. So that is what you will get back. So focus a lot more on being aware of what you're thinking. So by creating new momentum, I mean be more aware during the entirety of the day on thinking more positively. So when you start to, for example, catch yourself thinking negative things, or you start to gossip about other people, anything that has a negative feeling or negative energy to you, you have to be realizing and be more aware of how you feel when you think a certain thing or when you speak a certain thing. And when you do that, you start to notice that what you are for the majority of your time, from the majority of your life. And if your subconscious is mostly negative, then it's time to take some action. So when you, for example, catch yourself on something negative, you're saying negative things that make you feel bad, or that doesn't make you feel really 100% good, like gossip, like complaining, anything like that, because we're all like that. We are sometimes very complaining and gossipy people, but gossip and complaining are always negative energies, because you always focus on a negative aspect of another person or something in your own life. And therefore, if you do that most of the time, you are a very negative person. So when you catch yourself doing that, stop it immediately and think of something positive instead. So if you're gossiping about the person that you don't really like, then stop doing that and focus on a person you do like. Or for example, if you're mad at a partner or your partner in life or a friend of yours, and you start to nag about it, or you start to complain about it, stop it and say something positive about that person, because it is mostly not true what you're thinking. It's just you are in a negative state, and therefore you start to see things more negatively. And that's mostly how we are living our lives. For example, you get a text message and it says something, I don't know really an example, but because you're in a negative state, you might read that text message as in a negative way, while the sender of that text message might not mean it in that way. And that's often how we are thinking. Because of our momentum, we have created a negative flow of life. We tend to see things more negatively as well. And it's time to change that by replacing your negativity for positivity. And the only way to do that is by becoming more aware on where you are in life. Like, not everybody's the same level of negativity. Not everybody is super positive, or like not everybody's the same. Let's say it like that. But if you're, for example, thinking 60% of your day negatively, that's still too much. So you can lower that down. And some people think 90%, and some people think 40%, you know? But the best thing to do is always try to catch yourself when you do a negative act, like complaining, gossiping, or anything that doesn't feel good. I've repeated this probably already 3 times, but like I cannot say that more often, because cannot say that enough. But it's really important that you start to realize who you are, what level you're at, and also realize, where do you want to go from here? Do you want to be super positive? Do you want to be having a super amazing and fun life? Then you have to start thinking more positively and taking more positive actions. And those actions will come automatically once you start to become more positive, by thinking over and over again and saying things to yourself over and over again in a positive way that make you feel good. For example, appreciating something or someone has so much more power than complaining about somebody. Because we think when we are complaining about somebody that we are actually making ourselves feel better, because we think that we are so great. And that's never true, because the only thing you do is you just hurt yourself by complaining about somebody else, because it's just a negative state of mind. Because a positive person never cares about anybody else. They only care about how good their own life is. And that's something you have to think about. If you're complaining a lot, if you're gossiping a lot, or doing a lot of negative things, understand what you're doing. It's not bad, it's okay. Forgive yourself as well. Don't be too hard on yourself, but change it and start to see the beauty in the world. Start to see the beauty in other people. Start to see the good in life itself, and focus on the good in life itself. And when you focus a lot on the good in life itself, you become more good yourself. You become more happy. You become more focused on the positivity, because when you create a momentum of positivity, you start to see more positive things. So now that text message that you get from another person, even though it's sent in a mean way, you don't read it like that anymore, because you don't care about that anymore, because you're now positive. And that's what we want to achieve in life: more positivity and less negativity. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna speak a lot about these kind of subjects to make ourselves like feel good and improve ourselves, improve our mindsets and get better in life. And also don't forget to like this so that we can share the message to the entire world. Thank you so much guys. My name is Jay Well. Stay well and stay healthy. And I see you in the next video. Peace, bye, and doei, which is Dutch for bye. Later.